Hello and welcome. Welcome to session number 6, The Journey Within. Find your true purpose and become your best self. Hi, I'm Sonya Zappone. I'm the author of The Hero's Journey Inwards, The Ego's Journey to the Soul. And I thought I would read from the new daily reader that is coming out before we jump into the whole free workshop, free webinar. This is called Don't Run from the Dark Cloud of Your Own Dysfunction. So, as you might imagine, the hero's journey is full of tests, challenges, traps, obstacles to overcome and to pass those tests. So, the hero or heroine is an ordinary man or woman with at least one tragic flaw to overcome. This means a person is capable of great things, like us. This is just a common person suffering common afflictions of mind and spirit. Well, actually, this is us. You can read The Hero's Journey Steps and Stages in my book, The Hero's Journey Inwards, available on Amazon. Frustratingly, sometimes we get in our own way. Overhead, there's more than just a dark cloud of despair that we must watch out for on our heroic journey. We don't want any gray substance hanging over our heads and following us wherever we go, tainting everything we think, say, and touch. We need to have sunlight, and we can't live in a clouded state. There's more than a doom and gloom attitude that we have to be mindful not to adopt. There's dysfunction that can follow us around and hang over our heads too. We can't outrun the clouds we carry with us. We must turn to face and confront ourselves. The fact is, we take ourselves wherever we go, which is why geographical cures don't work well. We take our low self esteem, unhealed wounds, bad habits, and unfocused and undisciplined self to wherever we live and whomever we are engaged with. Without the all important self work, we are walking wounds full of hot buttons, easily triggered into fear, rage, panic, and past traumas. If we find ourselves hitting brick walls, dead ends, constantly making wrong turns, and frustrating ourselves over and over by being a dysfunctional version of ourselves, we must stop and shift. We have functioned too long in the ego, doing what the ego tells us to do and not to do. We must stop and sit with our soul. We need clarity to continue on the path of the hero's journey. We can't gain clarity by running from ourselves using distractions like chronic substances and not addressing our problems of self. When we are able to bravely and boldly admit and take responsibility for our shortcomings in character, we will be able to make progress in clearing part of the clouded mind from the self-defeating patterns that perpetuate our dysfunctional lifestyles. We can stop blaming the world for why our lives don't work, and we can take responsibility for the life we have. But first, we must see our part in our own dysfunction and then ask for our higher power's help. After all, they say God, God, is good, orderly direction. Disorganization can be our downfall. Our own dysfunction can cause us to delay tasks and necessary business and answering the call. Not embracing and still battling the ego inside the self sets us up for suffering. Fully accepting our own paradox, contradiction, and dual nature helps us stand in our power. The inner self is like a battery. Both sides, both mechanisms are working to power our lives. We need to embrace the ego's fear based messages, thank it for speaking up, and then allow its fear to be dissolved by the warmth and sunlight of truth and new and different experiences in the world. Taking responsibility for ourselves is a changed mindset. We no longer find someone to blame. On the other side of asking for help from a connection to a higher power lies order, harmony, and peace. Our lives begin to work easily and well. There's less pain and struggle when we aren't self sabotaging. When we address our internal issues, our external world and experiences reflect it. A disorganized mind causes us to get lost in the woods and off the path. Taking the time to make a list, write a plan, sort our belongings, clean our living space, and organize our life can go a long way toward making us more functional and less frustrated with ourselves. Going forward today, I will stop and write down a clear plan of action with baby steps and small achievable goals that will be my stepping stones to a better life and easier living. If I can't do something on my own, I will ask for assistance. I can allow the helpers to help. Welcome. I hope that resonated and spoke to you. Please, in the comments, if some words jumped out at you, type them in below. This is the hero's journey inwards. There's a hero's journey inside each one of us. And the hero's journey is like a blueprint for a better you. It's a map. And I love having a map, knowing where we're going in the mystery of things. So this is a self-help workshop designed to bring out the best in you. So it means pause these screens and do the transformational journaling assignments. We're achieving a hero's mindset, identifying the steps and stages, and knowing where we are on the map. We're trying to access the soul so that we can be our best self, living from the light of our soul. The quest is about asking and answering questions. Who am I and what is the purpose of my life? One of my spiritual teachers says, what's the purpose of my life is actually a prayer. So that's where you have to go deep and connect and pause. So for this, we have to understand the inner self. And I invite you to think of your life as a holy archetypal journey. And this isn't a journey to get anywhere. This ego's journey to the soul, it's a journey to arrive at the soul. So your heroic journey begins. It's a journey of consciousness. What if you took a spiritual path inwards? What would that look like, going from the known to the unknown? So I say going from the ego to the soul. A lot of people say it's going from the mind to the heart, just because the body is so intelligent and we store memories in those heart cells. It's like coming out of the mind that has stored some of the trauma and going into more intelligence in the body. So but I believe this is happening in the entire mind, body, spirit, and soul. This is the ego and the soul, two ways of being, a mechanism we're supposed to have, just like the two different parts on the battery. And it's our own duality, our paradox. It can create inner suffering. How can we be so clear and in the soul and then so confused by the ego? Like, how can we have these paradoxes, contradictions inside of ourselves? And this is it. This is our light and our darkness. And it's a mechanism I believe we build because we build this inner self and we're supposed to have it. But we can harness this energy and use it for light purposes. I like to talk about the false ego being a buffer around the true self. And sometimes you have to peel away this false self, this ego, to get down to the soul. I like to bring this image back up from the first one, the internal trinity, because you are an animal and the animal makes choices, and it can make choices in fear. It can make choices in love. It can be making choices to get from fear to love. And each point of this is of power. We have parts working inside of us that could work for us, work for against us, and we have to understand our own internal trinity. So we're on the ego's journey to the soul, and these are steps. What steps can we take to become a hero? We're all the way down to organize your life around your soul's mission, get congruent, make preparations daily through petition, prayer, and meditation. Stay on the path. So the path, the call led us to the path, and now we have to organize ourselves to be on the path. We have to take steps, leaps, calculated risks towards our goals. And I always add this one, do invisible acts of power. Thank you, Carolyn Mace, for explaining how helping others, embracing someone else, even anonymously, can empower you if you start to lose power. So, session 6, the transformational journaling journey is to write down 5 of your next steps and to make time for organization, because the organization will combat that dysfunction. We're organizing our life around our soul's mission. We're going to write down steps and risks we can take and do invisible acts of power, maybe in between. So watch out for distractions. Here, you're going to write down 1 through 5 of your next right steps. They could be little. Organize your desk, call for one of those helpers. So if you haven't already obtained a spiritual director or allies or helpers for this journey, that's probably number 1, to get those people in place. For the emotional stuff that comes up, for the self-doubt, when the ego starts to notice you're going outside your comfort zone, you're doing something different, it'll speak its words of fear to keep you safe and small and still. And you'll need to emotionally get through the ego's fear, challenges, doubt, and everything it kicks up when it's feeling threatened. We are on this ego's journey to the soul, and right now we're doing the self-help work right here. This was you heard the call and you refused the call. Hopefully you had a helper bring you right to the self-help work and self-study where you're making the lists. And one of the things that I'll talk about is spiritual study. So the tools for staying connected to the soul on this journey. So when you're on the path, these are things you will be doing regularly. There's a spiritual teaching that if you get on a spiritual path, you have to stay on the spiritual path. You can't come off of it. So you might want to read related books. So reading related books is on this list of staying connected to the soul. That is something you probably want to do when you're going on the hero's journey inwards and taking on a mission that brings you into the outer world. Books that are related can help you stay on the path. Join me in your journey on Facebook. Remember to like and subscribe. Love to have you over here for free workshops and webinars. If this is number 6, so if you haven't watched the first 5, go back, learn what you can, see the other images and visuals, because those symbols can be very helpful. Come to my free blog. And remember that the world needs heroes and the world needs you. So take this hero's journey inwards, become the hero that you've been waiting for, and become the hero that we need. Thank you so much for watching. Go back and watch now videos 1 through 6 in order, and focus on becoming the hero, and what you focus on will grow. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the last video.